Okay, so one time I was spending the night at my granny's and I was on period at the time.
Also, it was the first time I was spending the night at my granny's while being on my period, and so I was a happy bitch. So my mom called me to see if I had extra pads and I said yes, even tough I knew I didn't. So I decided to stay up so I didn't have to pay for it the next day, but I was so fucking tired that I eventually gave up and went to sleep. The next morning I panicked the fuck out because I knew I had to change my pad. So I ran to the bathroom and looked for something to replace my full-ass pad, so I couldn't find anything, so I did what I had to do. I took a rag and replaced as my new pad.
I was uncomfortable as fuck, but better than having bloody underwear. So a few hours later when I went home I immediately changed it to a real pad, and that rag was so fucking useless it went through my undies. So I threw the rag away and washed my undies and I changed into a real pad, and nobody knows that I ever did this, lol.
Okay, so one time me and my mom were cleaning out my room because it was a mess. So I had these notes where I planned to come out one day as asexual, but I didn't have the courage to. So we were going through my notebooks and I found the notes and panicked. So I put them in a bag and tried to walk out and throw them away, and also I had drawn lesbian couples, so I also put them in the bag and was walking to the front door until my dad said to see the drawings I was throwing out. Of course I panicked because I grew up in a Christian family, so I said just some year-old ones.
But he kept saying he wanted to see them and I said hold on, let me go to my room real quick. I didn't know what to do, so I just tried to sneak out. Then my dad said he needed to throw something away. So I opened the bag for him to put the trash in there and tried to snatch the bag out of my hands. But I was strong, so I ripped them out of his hands because I am bad bitch. So he took the bag and went to the table, and I was shivering me timbers really bad. So he found the pictures and I was crying and told my brother to go to his room and close the door. He and my mom started to call me not straight and said I wasn't a Christian, so I had to explain everything to them.
So pretty much I blamed it on random students from my school, but found out I was lying. We eventually ended the conversation and I went back to my room in tears. This happened 6 months ago and they still bring it up and I still hate myself for it.
So one time I got into a fight with my friend in school. So he was on the swing and I was pushing people on the swing. So my dumbass
decided to use my foot to push him, so when I first did it he took it as a threat and got off of the swing to fight me.
So obviously I beat his ass and body slammed him, and one of the teachers saw and got us in trouble, and the friend who was trying to separate us. So we went over to our little buddy classroom because apparently that was a thing, so we waited, then we got called into another teacher's classroom. We just waited again until we finally got called into the principal's office. So that crusty, dusty, rusty, musty, built like a cubby principal
forced us to apologize and we made up, and we are still friends. And by the way, this happened in 3rd grade, lol. One time I was eating dinner and my aunt asked me in a rude tone if I wanted to eat any more, and I replied no.
Then she decided to be smart and say, oh look, she's on her period, and by the way she had cancer, so she got her uterus removed.
So I was pissed and replied, at least I can actually get mine. And my granny told me off, but did I give 2 fucks? No, I didn't. Then she got mad and stormed off into her room like a 5-year-old, and it was the funniest shit ever, lol.
One time in 2nd grade there was this new girl and she was bubblegum dumb motherfucking bitch.
She would always act like she was better than everyone when she was built like my granny's sagging tits. So one time me and the class had enough of her bullshit. I think even the teacher was done with her small ass brain. So I decided to pull a pro gamer move. I quote unquote accidentally poured my apple juice on her dress and she started crying.
She snitched on me, but the teacher for real didn't care. She pretended to get me in trouble when she really got me an ice cream from the teacher's lounge. So Aliette, if you're watching this, go fuck yourself, ha 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 ha.
This one time me and my granny went to go pick up Subway because we ordered it for dinner.
Also across from the Subway there was a Starbucks, and by the way it was like 7 o'clock at night, so we saw this crusty old twig-looking bitch there. She looked like she was doing drugs, but we didn't give a fuck, so as soon as we got into the car the twiggy built like a toenail-looking bitch walked over to us and said, "Why are you staring at me?
Like bitch, shut your skin tone, chicken bone, Google Chrome, no home, flip phone, disowned, ice cream cone, garden gnome, extra chromosome, metronome, dimidome, genome, full-blown monochrome, student loan, Indiana Jones, Flintstone, X and Y hormone, Sylvester Stallone, Sierra Leone, AutoZone."
Professionally seen silver Patron head, ass the fuck up, you finna get these hands.
So my granny replied, "We weren't staring at you," and that bitch rolled her eyes and said, "Ah, sure," and walked away, and I gave her that "you better run before I break your straw-thin back."
And when we going to drive off my granny rolled down my window and flipped the woman off and said "fuck you," and we drove off and we started laughing, ha 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 ha.
One time me and my best friend confessed to each other online and it went unexpected. They said yes and I started crying. The relationship lasted at least a month until we went back to real school. Then they started to refer to me as their best friend. It was understandable because I was ugly and overweight. I am still heartbroken, but at least we are still friends.
But I'm still confused because basically we never broke it off, but okay, I guess as long as we're still friends. One time I was at my granny's house and my dusty aunt asked me to go to Ross, and since she is dumb as fuck she would make me not wear a mask.
I told my granny I didn't want to go, but she forced me to. When we got there I was wearing my mask and she told me to take it off. When we got into the store she said she would smack me if I didn't take it off. I walked right up to her and said do it. She didn't, but I was panicking the whole time because of me not wearing a mask.
When I got home I hid in the bathroom and basically bleached my face with soap and avoided her, and I'm still waiting for me to die from the no virus and her stupidity. Amy, if you see this, fuck you bitch, go get literal mental help and a weave, you need both sis.